Gentleman's time has expired. I now recognize the gentleman from North Carolina, my friend, Representative Edwards, for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Judge Conrad, with over 800 federally owned or leased court facilities, the judiciary is one of GSA's 3 largest tenants. How have organizational changes in the GSA affected the facilities of the federal judiciary?
We have an ongoing relationship with the GSA, both in terms of courthouse construction and maintenance. We have historically asked for more than they can deliver with respect to their funding. I mentioned the Puerto Rico emergency situation where the courthouse is outdated, unsafe, and built on a seismic fault line in a district where there's a very high volume violent crime caseload. And so there's ongoing efforts at doing things efficiently, but the ability to maintain our courts, and particularly our older courts, is in good times stressed, but in these times a real challenge for us. And so I've met recently with the Public Building Commissioner. We have ongoing dialogue with the GSA. We've actually, in light of some recent developments, had the ability to hire some really competent GSA people who turned out looking for jobs, and they've come with us and bring with them a real knowledge of how things work on the other side and enable us to communicate better.
I recognize that 10 federal courthouses appeared on the now redacted list of non-core federal facilities released by the GSA. 6 courthouses currently appear on GSA's list of assets identified for accelerated disposition. How frequently does the judiciary dispose of properties from the real estate portfolios?
We have a Space and Facilities Committee of the Judicial Conference that looks at this question with some degree of intensity. I can speak from the district that you come from in the Western District of North Carolina. We years ago had 5 federal courthouses. We now have 3, and so that's an ongoing examination by our branch, and caseload changes, population changes are all taken into consideration. Resident or non-resident judges in courthouses impact the decision whether to close out courthouse or not. I've had 3 conversations this week with different judges across the country who are actively considering whether to close down a courthouse or keep it open. And so I think with our budget request, we're also acting responsibly to try to contain our courthouse footprint and ask you for funding only when it's absolutely necessary.
Does the judiciary currently own or lease any courtroom or office space that's not currently occupied or in use?
I don't have on the top of my head the number of, you're asking about non-resident judge courthouses?
Well, any federal courthouse or office.
There are districts that have courthouses where judges travel from one courthouse to another to serve the needs of a different division. I don't have the exact number of those courthouses.
The final question is, when preparing for hearings like this one, I typically find Inspector General reports to be a really good resource for information on how agencies can improve their performance. And I really was intrigued to learn that while the Department of Justice has an Inspector General, the federal judiciary does not. And I was just curious to know your thoughts on why or why not should the federal judiciary have an Inspector General.
We are a separate and independent branch of government that is decentralized in its structure, and we don't have a single Inspector General audit. We have approximately 100 audits that go on every year from the various district courts across the country. We have audit committee, our governance is through the Judicial Conference, as you know, and we have 25 different Judicial Conference committees made up of volunteer judges and others who create policy for us, conduct audits. We have access to CPA firms that conduct audits for us. And our belief is that we're very responsible in the use of the funds that you give us, and that we're very careful with our Judicial Conference Audit Committee, with our Budget Committee, and the other structure that we have in place, that although we don't have a single IG audit that you speak of, we have the information necessary to tell you where the money is spent and how we're using it.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
The chair now